Hello everyone, welcome to the Storyist. Today I will be telling you a story about a 9-year-old boy who had been approached by a Marine in the middle of a triathlon and baffled everyone watching. Stay until the end of the video to find out what happened. Back in the 90s, there were two best friends serving as members of the U.S. Marine Corps, Lucas and Benjamin. They were inseparable, and they always went to different places together. Wherever Lucas would be assigned, Benjamin would follow. They were very young when they first entered the Marines. Both of them were in their early 20s. But even before their life in the service, the two had always been close. They grew up in the same neighborhood and even went to the same grade school and high school together. Lucas and Benjamin knew each other very well, and whenever one of them was facing challenges, the other would know by instinct. Benjamin loved running in the fields. Every morning he would get up earlier than anyone in their camp just to run around their camp's track and practice his skills in running. That's right, Benjamin loved running. And he was his team's best player when it came to their annual sports festival. Benjamin had always loved holding the title as the fastest Marine in history, and he would love to pass his talent to his son in the future. But there was one thing that separated Benjamin from the rest. He was more comfortable running without footwear on. He just ran faster when he's barefoot, and that had always been his ticket to winning their intermarine contests. But apart from running, Benjamin did not like anything else in their camp. He disliked the strict rules and methods of punishment. He hated going from one assignment to another and depriving them of their chance to settle in one place, and he did not like being away from his family. But Lucas, on the other hand, loved everything Benjamin hated. For the first time in their life, they found different interests. Lucas loved his life away from his loved ones, but Benjamin yearned living a normal life, going to a 9-to-5 job and starting a family without fearing for his life. Soon enough, Lucas and Benjamin's interests clashed, and they realized they weren't meant to be in the same place at the same time anymore. Before Benjamin left the Marines for good, Lucas promised Benjamin that he would always be his best friend. And whatever happens, he would always look out for Benjamin and his loved ones. Then after they said their goodbyes, Benjamin left. Lucas continued his service and served for many, many years. He never got the chance to create his own family, though, because he had been too busy protecting their naval bases and guarding U.S. embassies. While he was busy dedicating and sacrificing his life for his country, Benjamin lived a normal life. He went on to become a college professor, where he would teach inspired students for 20 years. During this time as well, Benjamin met and fell in love with a woman named Linda, one of his co-professors in his university. Benjamin and Linda found something that they never thought existed. After a few years of dating, they got married, and at the time of their marriage was the first time Lucas received a letter from Benjamin in almost a decade. When Lucas received the letter, he almost crashed into tears. He missed his best friend, but he was also guilty for not writing a single letter after Benjamin left. Being invited to his best friend's wedding, he went to the church, and for the first time in years, he met his best friend again. The two hugged in delight, and they tried to catch each other up with their lives. Benjamin had gotten so far in his life since he left, and now he was about to start his own family. But Lucas's heart was really meant to stay in the U.S. Marine Corps. So after the wedding ceremony, he went immediately back to his camp. When he got there, he was pretty sure Benjamin would never write a letter anytime soon, and he would be busy starting and upholding a family of his own. A decade passed again, and he received a letter from his best friend's wife. The devastating news of his best friend's death came, and he was dumbfounded to hear it. He immediately flew back to his hometown to attend Benjamin's funeral, finding out that he had a son who was 9 years old at the time. He learned as well that the son loved sports as much as his father did, and in fact, he was competing in a triathlon for their school sports fest. Lucas smiled quietly when he realized the boy was actually a replica of his father, smart, funny, and a sports lover. The morning after the funeral, Lucas woke up to the sound of small feet running back and forth around the backyard. He had spent the night inside Benjamin's home and was planning to leave after helping Benjamin's wife in the things she needed to settle for his death. It was very early in the morning, and he stood up to take a look. He saw Benjamin's 9-year-old son running around the backyard wearing worn-out rubber shoes. "Hey, why are you practicing this early, buddy?" Lucas asked Benjamin's son. He halted from running to look at him.
"I have a triathlon coming, and I almost always win. Well, until I run. I guess I'm no good at running," the kid said in a frown. He seemed sad, and Lucas took pity on him. But he thought the child was good enough at running. So he told him he would let him run in the wider field outside, and he would watch over him until the sun rose up. Benjamin's son agreed, and he practiced running around the vast field. And he was fast, but perhaps not as fast as his competitors. "Do you want to hear a story about your dad?" Lucas asked the child as he went under the shade of a sequoia to rest. The child nodded and waited for his story. "He was the best runner in the whole Marine of all time, and he ran barefoot," Lucas continued, encouraging the child. "Barefoot? That's insane. Dad always had his rubber shoes on. He never went anywhere without them."
The child chuckled. Lucas did not think much of this until the day the triathlon came. Lucas was then back to his headquarters, and it had been 3 weeks since Benjamin died. But during the scheduled day of the triathlon, he couldn't stop thinking about what the child told him. He kept wondering why the kid kept losing despite his skills in running. Perhaps because of his already worn-out shoes. And then he remembered something. With this sudden eureka moment, he ran to catch a flight back to his hometown, holding a box of shoes. Luckily, he was early enough to get there the exact moment Benjamin's son was about to run. Before the child positioned in his lane, Lucas ran and approached him in the middle of the field. He was still wearing his Marine uniform, and he ran past the guards in the field. Everyone was shocked by what he'd done, but they were more baffled by what happened next. He gave the child a shoebox. Benjamin's son and everyone else thought he gave him new shoes, as his shoes were both worn out. But when he opened it, it was empty. The kid was puzzled, and he looked at Lucas in confusion. Lucas looked him in the eyes and said, "Remember the story? The fastest Marine in history?" The kid's confused face shifted into a smile. He promptly removed his shoes and went back to his lane. Everyone was still confused, but that didn't matter to him. Benjamin's kid ran barefoot and ran really fast, the fastest among all the participants, and Lucas remembered his best friend's dream for his then-future son. Benjamin's son won the triathlon competition, and everyone in his team celebrated. While he was being tossed in the air, holding his trophy, he gave Lucas a glance and mouthed, "Thank you." Lucas just smiled at him, and he went back to the headquarters. Since then, the kid ran barefoot, and he had won competition after competition. A couple of years later, while Lucas was sipping his morning coffee inside the camp, he read the newspaper, and the headline was Benjamin's son grabbing tons of medals while running barefoot. He chuckled and placed his coffee on the table when he saw a shoebox. He chuckled lightly, thinking that the child may have pranked him too. But when he opened it, he saw a pair of worn-out shoes, the exact size as his. It was the shoes he gave Benjamin as a farewell gift before he left the Navy. They were completely worn out. And beside it was a note that read, "Since Dad left the Navy, these were the same shoes he wore every day until his last. Lucas." Tears fell, remembering his best friend. He was thankful that he had a best friend like Benjamin, and that he had a son exactly like him. That's all for today. We hope you enjoyed that video, and we'll see you in the next.